And now.
Mm-hmm. Good evening, everyone, or good morning, good afternoon, whenever you're catching this. Welcome to episode 13 of the MMAHOLICS. Today, we're joined by a special guest, RJ. It's the boy RJ's right here. How you doing, RJ? You good?
I'm doing good, everybody, man. It's a privilege to be here. I'm happy to be here with my boys Nikki and Antoine. We got to break down the fights. I'm gonna be here for a little while. You know, the man's got to go make some bread after this. Head over to work. But hey, man, for me, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Make that bread. But for me, guys, it's a pleasure to be here. You know, I'm really happy to be here to be able to break down the main event with you guys as always, man. So thank you for having me. It's a privilege.
Mm-hmm. Of course, yeah. And how was your day, Nikki? Was it good, bro?
Doing good, bro. I was on the game all day, enjoying my vacation from school. So.
Mm-hmm. Now I get it, man. Yeah, it's not really much better than that, bro. Especially like when you're working like Monday through Friday. And hey, we get some fights on Saturday too. But yeah, guys, y'all already know how we like to do. We got a special guest for our UFC 299 preview this evening. Really, really great card. We can go ahead and pull it up. It's a pretty crazy card. And as we get into this card, I want to give a special shout out to Francis Ngannou. Man, yeah, but before we even get into this, I really want to give a big shout out to Francis. We're going live right after the Joshua versus Ngannou fight, and he gave a valiant effort. And yeah, man, shout out to the former UFC heavyweight champion. I get it didn't go his way, unfortunately. Obviously, we saw it ended by second round knockout. We had seen Francis get dropped, and we had never seen him get dropped before. And before we get into this card, I just want to get you guys quick thoughts on that. How'd you feel about the fight, RJ's?
Man, I thought personally, I thought Francis was a bit too intimidating for AJ, but AJ's a stud, man. You know what I mean? I never really took Anthony Joshua too serious because, he's lost to Andy Ruiz. He might have avenged that loss, but then he goes ahead, he loses to Usyk. I'm like, Ngannou just went to war with Fury, arguably beat him. I'm considering an upset here. So I thought Ngannou had a great chance to KO Joshua, but the fight didn't even go past three rounds. Not even 3 rounds. So AJ made a statement. Anthony Joshua saved boxing in one day, and congratulations to Anthony Joshua, man, putting on a clinic. I've never seen Ngannou get KO'd, and today we witnessed history. Honestly, we witnessed history.
Yeah, facts. How'd you feel about the performance, Nikki?
Yeah, it was a crazy fight. Ngannou could definitely be a good heavyweight boxer if he just continued with it. He could definitely he could win. There's no it's not like he's gonna lose to everyone. But man, I thought it was gonna be a decision win for Joshua. I don't think anyone thought Ngannou was getting knocked
second round knockout, right?
Meanwhile, getting knocked down 3 times in 2 rounds is insane.
Yeah.
Joshua was just so chill about it too. There was no intensity. It was just so he knew what he was doing. So that's that, man. It happened. It's over. So we gotta see what's next for Ngannou. Gotta see what's next for Joshua. Maybe Joshua's next in line. Fights the winner if Fury and Usyk, if that's still happening. I don't know if it is, but because it got delayed, didn't it?
Yeah. It got pushed back. Yes, it did.
So
that's
maybe he can fight the winner of that because I mean. That's a good win right there over Ngannou, knocking him out. I know Tyson Fury didn't come into that fight in good shape at all. He looked like shit, but he still went to a war with Fury. So,
Yeah, man. And even then, before we wrap it up, I'm gonna get my thoughts on it, man. Again, shout out to Francis. He just dared to be great. We know he got reportedly got a $20 million purse for this fight, so clearly he's walking to the bank off a loss. What's up, Clips? Thank you so much for joining us, man. Guys, go subscribe to the man MMA Clips. He's a great guy, great YouTuber. And super consistent dude, always putting out good content. Yeah, man, it was super unfortunate for Ngannou, man. But again, like I said, he walked away with a lot of money. And that's essentially what he got into the boxing for. Clearly, yeah, he had already accomplished the UFC heavyweight strap, and I feel like that's one of the biggest achievements in combat sports that you could have. So I feel like at the end of the day, the boxing quest was really about the money and getting the biggest fights, and he did it. He really accomplished everything. Of course, on paper, he is 0-2 in the boxing world, but at the same time, those were 2 massive bags. When it comes to to fights and stuff like that, when losing and getting money with fighters, especially when a fighter's lost before, they'll be like, hey, what's another loss for that money, but it's just when you're losing like that, though, that's where the money comes in, that you're getting paid to and some people have thick skin, and some people aren't going to be affected by getting their highlight reel posted in their Instagram comment section over and over and over and over and over. and stuff like that, you know. And I feel like no one should, you know, try. Of course, everyone's having a field day with Francis on X right now. But at the same time, you know, he's walking away with 20 million, like Tyson Fury said a bunch of times in the post fight interview. He at least got paid first time. And yeah, man, I just want to give a shout out to Francis Ngannou before we move on to this glorious UFC 299 card. And even before we get into this card, y'all, it's the last 200 card, y'all. So I honestly wanted to get y'all's favorite 200 card. If I had to give mine first, it's a lot, man. It's a lot. I would probably, damn, man, it's 100 of them. So, or at least like, you know, 98 of them. I'll probably say like UFC 275 is one of like my most personal favorites. That was the Singapore card. With Glover Teixeira versus Yuri Prohaska. Tyler Santos versus Valentina Shevchenko was on that card. The Whaley knockout over Joanna Jacek was on that card as well, the spitting back fist. And that whole Singapore card was just really a classic, you know, and it was catching a bunch of flack because it lost some fights going into it, but it ended up being really, really good, the UFC Singapore card. So if you had to say your favorite 200 card, what would it be, Jason? Then you, Nikki, after.
Man, you know, that's a tough one. We've had so many great UFC 200 cards. You know, off the top of my head, to be honest with you, I'd probably say my favorite card was UFC 256 of Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno, the first fight they had. You know, that's when I first found out about MMA. So I was just like, man, like, let me have a geese. You know what I'm saying? I remember like I was in bed. I remember like I was in bed in the morning, and my girlfriend at the time, she already had the prelims up on the phone, and I was just like, oh shit, like we better watch the whole fight card then. And it was a great card, man. You know, we saw Kevin Holland knock out Jacare off his back. There were some great fights. You know, it's a bit hard for me to remember, but it was also the first time that I saw Charles Oliveira, and I was a big Tony Ferguson fan. So when I saw Oliveira dominate Tony Ferguson, I was very surprised. I was like, wow, this guy could be elite. You know what I mean? And to see how far Charles has come is great. And not only that, but yeah, the first fight that Figgy and Brandon Moreno had was one of the best fights I've seen to this day. Yeah, like really got me into the sport. I was just like, wow, like this was a dope card, UFC 256. So for me, that's probably my favorite card, man, to be honest with you. You know, just a bunch of great fights and a lot of anticipation in the COVID times too. Like Rafael Vaziev knocked out Moicano on that card. There were a lot of great moments. What about you, Nikki? What about you, bro?
To be honest, I'm picking something no one's probably going to assume. International Fight Week last year was insane.
290.
That card was so crazy that I forgot there was a main event after the co-main. We had all the prelims were great. Then we got to Robbie Lawler getting a retirement knockout. We had Jerkis Duplessis beating Rob Whittaker. Then we had a war between was it Pantoja and Moreno?
Yeah, Moreno
won. And I wasn't even mad. I was all for Moreno winning, and I saw people getting pissed, but I'm like, yo, this Pantoja dude is fucking nice. I'm like, if he could do that for 5 rounds, he's gonna hold his belt for a minute.
Long time.
I wasn't even mad Moreno lost after picking it. And then you get the main event. Volk just sealed the night off with a dominating win. So for me, 290.
Yeah, man. All 3 of those were absolute classics, and it's crazy, man. I just wanted to get those. Because this is the last 200 one, man, as we move on to a new chapter, UFC 300 on April 13th. Of course, you have to get through this beautiful card first. Yo, what's up, my man Anthony? Thank you so much for stepping by. My man Anthony W. Super great guy. Always popping out in all the live chat. Super nice dude. Shout out to Anthony. And thank y'all so much for joining us as we get into this card. And with that, we can start out with the main event of UFC 299. Gonna start. Absolutely, y'all are gonna start from the top and go down to the bottom. And yeah, y'all, we have the main event, the UFC bantamweight title fight between Sean O'Malley and Chito Vera. I'm gonna go and let you give your pick first, RJs. Go ahead, bro.
Well, listen, fellas, I'm gonna say this right now. Are y'all not hyped for this card in general? Oh my god, this might be one of the best UFC cards of all time. Honestly, you know, that might be a bit of a stretch, but I really think that name value wise, this might be one of the best cards of all time. I'm genuinely I was sweating before because I was thinking about all the fights in the card, and I'm just like, the anticipation is just too much, bro. It's too much for me. But for the main event, man, this is like a very interesting rematch, right? You know, very, very interesting rematch. You know, this is one of those fights that needs to happen because the first fight ended in some weird circumstances, particularly, You know, Sean O'Malley's talking about Chito Vera getting a fluke, and then Chito Vera says that he won, but he's also kind of not denying that it was luck. You know what I mean? He kind of also realizes that Sean did mess up his foot prior to that. And I rewatched that fight, and O'Malley is piecing up Chito Vera on one foot. So to me, that's a bit sketchy, to be honest with you, for Chito. But my prediction for this fight, man, you know, Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Vera. I think Chito's getting a very undeserved title shot here. I think this is a storyline type of fight that just is going to happen regardless. For me, man, I think the logical pick here is Sean O'Malley, right? You know, I think when you're a champion, you know, like Teddy Atlas said many years ago, when you become the champion, you get 30% better, right? We saw that with Leon Edwards and Kamaru Usman. You know, Edwards in the third fight looked like a beast, man. You know, just kicking the crap out of Usman, you know, beat him pretty, not easily, but, you know, beat him pretty convincingly. And for me, I think O'Malley is going to have a Israel Adesanya type of performance here. I think that Sean O'Malley knows that he's not going to be stupid and reckless and try to brawl with Chito Vera, because I don't think he'd get knocked out, but I just think that he would probably get dropped at least, to be honest with you. And Marlon Chito Vera, man, I think this guy's a good striker. You know, he's got good head kicks. He's got like a good karate type of style, taekwondo type of style. I know that sounds crazy to say, but like I remember when he fought like Rob Font, like some of these guys that he's fighting, he's like throwing up weird head kicks at times. You don't even see them coming. But I think that Sean O'Malley has even better head kicks. I think Sean O'Malley has way better kicks in general. I think that Sean O'Malley is going to have to kick a lot in this fight, because one thing I've noticed with Sean O'Malley is like when he punches people, he likes to kind of punch them with his thumb, you know, turn his knuckle over. And I mean, guys, if Sean O'Malley's trying to do that to Chito Vera, I think he's going to break his hand in the first round. You know what I'm saying? With those UFC gloves. So, and Chito Vera's got one of the hardest heads in the UFC, in my opinion. So you can't really crack him. And I think O'Malley's going to have to be really careful in this fight, man. So that's why I'm really worried about O'Malley here. The durability in general. O'Malley's got a really good chin, underrated chin. You know, pretty good durability. But he's kind of built like a twig at 135, you know, like he looks really, really sucked in on the weigh-ins. I was actually kind of a bit concerned. Like I think the doctor that was running the weigh-ins, he like accidentally messed up the scale, and then O'Malley had to hold back off, and he looks really sucked in and dried out. And I know that O'Malley's going to be rehydrated and all that good stuff, but I think, honestly, Marlon Vera definitely has the better durability here. For me, Sean O'Malley has the way better skill set. Everybody knows this. And I think O'Malley is going to piece up Chito Vera in this fight. I think he's going to win every single round 10-9. I think it's going to be one of those fights where it's going to be close the whole time. But I think that O'Malley's just going to convincingly have the edge. A lot of people are going to see that. And I think we're going to kind of see a fight where it's like O'Malley lands 20 strikes in the first round. Chito Vera lands 10, you know. O'Malley lands 30 the next round. Chito might land 15, you know. O'Malley lands 50 strikes in the third round. O'Malley might land, not O'Malley, but Chito might land 25. So I think for every like 10, 15 strikes Chito throws, I think Sean's going to double him every round. And I think Sean's just going to put a really good game plan on him. I mean, I think he's just going to throw a lot of teeps, a lot of leg kicks. I see Sean O'Malley just beating the crap out of Chito Vera with leg kicks, you know what I mean? Just chopping at him. And a lot of teeps, head kicks, body kicks, you know what I mean? I think Chito Vera is going to have to deal with a lot of kicks from Sean O'Malley. And I think the later this fight goes, guys, I do believe that O'Malley's going to start, you know, hopping on his bike, moving around the octagon a lot, you know what I mean? He's going to throw a lot at the start of the fight to make a statement. But I do believe that he's going to start cruising the later the fight goes. And that's where Chito can pick it up. You know, Chito can maybe take the fourth, the fifth round. We all know that Sean O'Malley hasn't gone, 5 rounds in a fight. His gas tank might be a bit questionable for a 5-round fight. But at the same time, man, I just don't think Chito Vera has the style to beat Sean O'Malley. I think that O'Malley's levels ahead of him on the feet. I think O'Malley is going to kick Chito Vera to pieces. And I'm scoring a 49-46 decision for Sean O'Malley. I think he wins 4 rounds maximum. I think he wins like at least 3-4 rounds of this fight and just like keeps Chito Vera at bay, just constantly fading, being a really tricky matchup for Chito Vera. And the only way, guys, for me that I think Chito Vera has a chance is if he's taking chances, you know, pushing the pace on Sean O'Malley, you know, like Chris Matinho, some of these guys that actually walk down O'Malley, they can have some success touching him up on the chin and all that. And that's what Chito's got to do, man. But for me, I think Chito is just going to be so worried about the counters of O'Malley, the feints. I think O'Malley's going to be throwing 100 feints out there every single round that Chito's just not going to be able to get into a rhythm to find any shot on O'Malley. I think O'Malley's going to be moving around too much. Give me Sean O'Malley to win this fight by a 49-46 decision, guys. That is my breakdown. What about you, Antoine? I'm going to leave it to you guys.
For me, man, you kind of already said it, man. Everything that really needed to be said. No, honestly, like truthfully, yeah, it was a beautiful, awesome breakdown, man. I tip my hat to you. Yeah,
Appreciate it.
man. Of course, always, bro. Yeah, I got Sean O'Malley in this fight, man. I think he just improved vastly since the first fight, man. He was doing good in the first fight with the leg kicks himself until Cheeto just landed that kick. That honestly, and I'm not, of course, not taking away from Cheeto on like the Sean narrative, but it really was like a 1 in a million injury that
Yeah.
happened to him when he threw that leg kick like that, and then like it clipped the back of his leg, and like it disabled him. Like any man can be beaten on one leg, and like and how you said he was still doing pretty good in the second round when he was throwing some punches. Just when he went in for the forward combination, his leg gave out. Like it was, he literally couldn't move anymore.
Yeah.
So and like obviously Cheeto did what he had to do. He took advantage, laid some ground and pound, and got the flash KO finish. But yeah, man, I just really think in this fight in particular, Sean's coming out with a point to prove. I think he's going to use the footwork. I think the feints are going to be the biggest problem for Cheeto.
Sure.
He's going to be giving him feints all night, and Cheeto might bite on them more than usual, especially knowing it's a title fight. Cheeto's had more main events than Sean O'Malley, but Sean still had those big moments. Every single fight he had on his way to the belt, it was a pay-per-view opener. Of course, you're not bringing the fight home at the end of the night, but you're still in front of millions of fans, and you can make the case some people watch pay-per-view openers more than they watch fight night main events, even the ones that have fans, So Sean O'Malley's always been in big moments. This is Cheeto's first title fight. We saw how Sean handled his first title fight, getting it done against Aljamain Sterling in Boston. Soaked it really, soaked the crowd in. Came out to great walkout song. Superstar by Lupe Fiasco. Just was perfect for the moment. And he capitalized. And even with all that being said, that's a major reason why I think he's going to win this fight. I think it's his time. I think it's his moment. I think he's in his prime right now. And I think Sean has to prove himself to a lot of people. A lot of people think, he thought he'd never become champion. They thought he'd just medal in the rankings, blow up for having tattoos, smoking weed, and just playing video games. But nah, he in fact is a world-class martial artist. And it was cool to see him really like take that leap, And even with the Petr Yan fight, I know it was a split decision, but it was still close. It was still a close fight. And that's credit to Sean O'Malley's skill set, So I really think that he's really coming out here with a point to prove. I think he's taking this fight very seriously, regardless of everything you see on Embedded or the Countdown show. I think he's taking Cheeto Vera extremely seriously. He knows he cannot lose this fight. If he does, it'll be 2-0, and he won't be able to get it. That would just like send things way out of whack, like way left. That would be a massive left turn. So I think he's just coming out here. He's going to play it safe, try to get the victory, get it done. He knows it has to be flashy. Cheeto did get a finish in the first fight. Just optic-wise, it doesn't look good for O'Malley. He's going to want to get it back to say finish for finish. And yeah, man, that you really had said everything for the most part. So I'm going to go with Sean O'Malley. And yeah, man, Nikki, who you picking next? Go ahead.
Yeah, it's all three O'Malley on this one. Like you said something really interesting. It's like they see him smoking weed, they see the face tats, all this, and they really treat him like a joke. Like, you got to remember, he is the world champion.
Right.
He hasn't been to 5 rounds, so that's like the big thing, right? Because if it goes past to the 4th round, we've never seen O'Malley, so it's like you have no info on him. But I mean, he's trained for 2 5-round fights now. He trained Aljamain for 5 rounds, and he wasn't expecting a second round knockout. Probably he thought he probably would have to be grappling all day. With Cheeto, he doesn't have to worry about grappling, so he doesn't have to worry about having that like extra bag on him, that extra tiredness after. It might go into the later rounds, but even then, I mean, Sean trains for this, so he knows, like, he's done all the right things up until now. He hasn't done anything wrong up until now besides get hit in the nerve.
Right.
So he gets a lot of hate where he deserves credit, I feel. I think Sean can finish this within half of the fight. So in the first 2.5 rounds, or 3.5 rounds, I think he could finish it. But even if it goes the distance, I think the only round that's like guaranteed Cheeto would be round 5, right? Like, he could be bloodied up from Sean the whole fight. He'll take 100%. Round 5 just because, like, he's been there, he's done that. But I think Sean, like, he's that guy. I like what you guys said, 49-46. It all sounds accurate to me.
Yeah.
But, I think I'm gonna go with the knockout. I think Sean will knock him out within the first two, honestly.
Woo! Okay.
Yeah, whoa, spicy.
All right.
I think Sean will put him out, man. I mean, Sean's one of the greatest strikers in the UFC.
Yeah,
probably
100%.
the greatest striker in bantamweight, right?
100%. You know, and it's like if Sean could be the first person to finish Cheeto, like that would be a huge statement in his feather.
Massive.
Yeah, because
like,
Cheeto's got like
cool
a
in his last
chin,
fight, but it wasn't a fight that should be getting a title fight. Like that's just not convincing enough to me. And then before that, Sam Hagen wrestled him and stuff, but still, man, it's just not impressive enough for me. Like Cheeto, he's done it, but like he hasn't done it enough to been like to move mountains for me.
He hasn't done it the right way, you know. Like he hasn't done it the right way.
Antoine said this last week. He put a card in his back pocket when he beat Sean.
Yeah,
and now he's cashing in his money in the bank, like the WWE. He's cashing it in, but he's not cashing it in after Sean O'Malley just won, and he's laying on the ground. This is a fresh Money in the Bank fight. So.
Yeah, man. And even then, this is the last thing I'll say on it before we move on to this glorious co-main. There's a narrative going into this that, you know, a lot of people think that Dana wouldn't remake this fight. I think that seeing that, you know, we're shooting this on a Friday night. I've been watching the press conference last Thursday. Both these guys got, you know, like they got a pretty big fan bases, you know. Cheeto, man, like, you know, if he could really become the first Ecuadorian champion, that'd be massive for himself, obviously, and the Ultimate Fighting Championship. That'd be massive for the UFC. Like, excuse me, y'all. I just really think that if he were to get it done, it would really just open up the door for, like, you know, a whole other region of the world. And like and I really think Cheeto would like sell out. Like if they ever had a UFC Ecuador, absolutely, obviously he'd sell it out. But my point I'm making is that, like, I think that if this is a close fight, don't be surprised that if Dana wants to like run it back, like if Cheeto makes it close and it's like Sean O'Malley gets an end still off a split decision and he doesn't even finish him, and Cheeto can make the claim, no, like I finished you, motherfucker, like you didn't finish me, and you know, like all that.
Vera 3.
Like and like
10.
But see, like, facts, but like that's the thing though. Like that's the thing. Like Sean, like they waited so long like to really finally get him here. It's taken. He came in at 22. He's 29 now, so that's 7 years. He was on First Take on ESPN. Man, you can imagine how many people that don't even watch UFC watch MMA, but they watch basketball, football, baseball, all that stuff. And they just watch First Take every morning. They saw that interview. They saw, oh man, Sean O'Malley's fighting this Saturday. Like, you know, talking to Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp. Like, that's massive. So that really shows you, like, hey man, that's really like they're really like he can really like try to at least try his best to become that nice big star for the UFC. No one's ever going to replace Conor McGregor. I do think that Sean O'Malley has a big star rival in the newly crowned in the newly crowned featherweight champion, Ilia Topuria. I think Ilia can be a massive superstar for the UFC if they give him the right locations for his fights, and he has the rivalries. And like
sorry to talk over my boy.
No, you're fine. You're good. You're good.
I'm gonna say this right now. It's a Saturday afternoon for me right now in Australia. It's a Friday night for y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I want to say God bless you guys. I actually got to go and go to work. I'm going to be working like a 6-7 hour shift. But I do want to say, guys, hopefully I can hop back in here in a couple months on another pay-per-view, you know, break down the whole card. You know, I'd really love to be here breaking down the whole card with you guys, but the man's got to make the bread in that. But obviously, guys, I want to say thank you so much for having me on for the main event. I really do appreciate it, guys. And I hope you guys have a great rest of the show. You know what I mean? Can't wait to see people stop in. And I can't wait to, you know, hear your takes on who's everyone like got. You know, I'm going to watch the replay back on this and see who everyone's got for the co-main and for the rest of the card. So, guys, I want to say thank you so much for having me, Antoine, Nikki. I hope to be here back soon. And I hope you guys have a great night, man, as always.
Mm-hmm. All good, brother.
Of course, you too, man. Stay safe out there and have a great shift, man. Absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
Of course, definitely. But yeah, guys, as I was saying, I do think that Topuria could become like the next big superstar for the UFC. And I only mention all of that because I do think that Sean O'Malley needs a rival. He needs a rival to really take his story to the next level like that. And it needs to be another popular rival at that. Conor McGregor and Khabib Nurmagomedov was so big because they both had countries behind both of them. So I just really feel like if Sean O'Malley is going to even come close to really getting like that massive superstar potential, he's already got the First Take interview. That's a big step in my opinion. But he's going to have to definitely have a big rival. And I don't put it past that Dana would make this fight again if it's close. And if it's split decision, if it makes a lot of money, it's marketable, it's a massive storyline, it would literally be 1-1. So they could have a trilogy. It'd be for a title. It could be a main event. So, yeah, y'all. But yeah, this is a great main event. We'll see what Sean O'Malley does. And we both got the in still. But yeah, moving on, man, to this co-main event. Obviously this fight is pretty insane, pretty insane. First off, I just want to say shout out to Dustin Poirier. Obviously, you know, like definitely one of my favorite fighters. He's coming off that loss against Justin Gaethje, from UFC 291. He got knocked out with the head kick. But of course he's coming back out here. He obviously does not have to, because he definitely is a paid man. So in my opinion, that shows that he definitely wants to be here. He wants to prove that himself, that he still has it, that he still has all that fire like in the fuel tank. And a lot of people are questioning his determination going into this fight. And I get it, you know, like it's kind of hard to get off the couch again after getting knocked out with a head kick, and like that can send you back. Even though he's the number 3 ranked contender, it can send him back like in like the back of the line in terms of the pecking order, trying to get a title shot and things of that nature. So for Dustin Poirier going into this fight, man, it's an exciting one, man. It's an exciting one. It's definitely going to test him in every aspect of the fight. You know, we know how good Benoit Saint-Denis is. He's really well-rounded. He's on a 5-5 win streak, you know, all by way of finish, submissions, knockouts, head kicks, you know. Both fighters are really, really good. I do think, in my opinion, this will be fight of the night on a really, really stacked card out of all things. But yeah, man, if I had to give my pick going into this fight, it's really, really close fight, obviously. Both fighters are fairly well-rounded, but for me, man, I'm going to go with the experience of Dustin Poirier. I really think that he can really get him into rounds 4 and 5, 3, 4, and 5. We know this is a 5-round fight. Dustin Poirier is the one who asks for the 5 rounds because he knows that suits him. And at this point, you know, he's only has main events and big fights, so he's used to training for 5 rounds. A 3-rounder would be different, and I do think the 5 rounds benefits him. Even if it hits like round 1 and 2, Benoit's, you know, like Benoit's nice and fresh. He'll have that early storm. All Dustin has to do is just weather it. And even by weathering a storm, it's not like he can offer his own offense back. We know he has a really good jab. He has great leg kicks. He's still fairly durable. That head kick could have knocked out literally anyone. That head kick could have knocked out BSD, in my opinion. But yeah, man, Dustin, I just feel like he really has to come out here and just be aggressive. Meet Benoit in the middle. Don't let him back him up against the cage. Try to back him into a corner. We know Dustin has good jiu-jitsu. We saw him be the first man to ever submit Michael Chandler. So if this does hit the ground, we know he has good jiu-jitsu as well. Benoit Saint-Denis got a submission over Ismail Bonfim. That was a really good feather in his cap to get a submission the way he did. So obviously, if this hits the ground, these guys will grapple. But in my opinion, I think that it's probably going to be a kickboxing match for the most part. It's going to be a war on the feet unless one of them decides to shoot for a takedown. Which they could decide to. You know, they're mixed martial artists, but in my opinion, it's going to be a kickboxing match. And yeah, man, I'm going to go with Dustin Poirier. I was going to go with Dustin my 4th round TKO. I think it's going to be an absolute war of the first 3 rounds. I think they're really going to test each other. They're going to test each other's wills. Dustin has been in those trenches plenty of times. Eddie Alvarez, Dan Hooker, Conor McGregor, like so many fights. Max Holloway. Like he's been in so many wars with, like, you know, Hall of Famers. He has so much championship experience, and I think that he can get this done. I don't think he would take this fight if he wasn't still trying to win. He doesn't want to just give his name to anyone to get put on the resume. And then watching the interviews and looking at him better, he's in great shape right now. He's really motivated. He took enough time off, well, enough time that he needed to, coming off the head kick. That was back in July. This is in March. So that was some nice time off for Dustin. And Benoit's a great fighter. You know, Benoit could 100% win this fight. He could get a submission, and he can maybe knock Dustin out with a TKO. But I just think Dustin's going to come forward with the jab, stay forward on that jab early, really disrupt Benoit's forward movement with that jab. And throughout the jab, to start working in the combinations, the 3, 4s, and 5s. And yeah, I'm going to go with Dustin Poirier by 4th round knockout.
Yeah, first and foremost, shout out to Dustin for fighting down. He's given Benoit a big opportunity here because Benoit just fought Frivola, who was ranked 15, or he was like unranked, I don't know. So a big opportunity for Frivola. Big shout out to Dustin for giving him this fight because he definitely didn't have to. He could have let someone else take this fight. But I mean, it just Dustin at plus money just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, like, what is Benoit Saint Denis? Sorry if I'm saying it wrong.
No, you're
What
fine,
is
bro.
he that Dustin's never seen? Like Dustin fought Chandler. Chandler's gonna be the walk forward, and just no matter what that Saint Denis brings. And then he's fought Gaethje. Gaethje's gonna have a very similar frame. But then like Dustin's like he's been choked out by Khabib. Like he's got head kicked by Gaethje. So like sure those are things Benoit could do to him, but it's like I don't see that happening. There's just so much more experience to it. He's seen it all. He just got head kicked. What event did Saint Denis get a head kick knockout against?
That was UFC
295. 295. No, it was not the same night. But okay, like either or. He just got a head kick knockout, and Dustin just got head kick knocked out.
Yeah,
Dustin's trained. That's not gonna slip again. You know, that's not like Dustin. Dustin's prepared for that. Sure, he might win a round or two in the first two, but like from then on, it's just like I'm 100% on Dustin. I mean, a win over Bonfim is good, but that's not the same over wins as Conor over McGregor and out. Like all these names, bro. Dustin's beat. Dustin's a dog, bro. Him at plus money just is crazy. Like, there's no reason not to bet on him, bro. Everyone should be betting on Dustin Poirier because when this fight's over, you're gonna go on YouTube and you're gonna see UFC 299 Octagon interview. Dustin Poirier calling for a title shot against Islam in July or whatever. Yeah. So it's like, take Dustin in this fight. I got him winning by decision, but I mean, I could see Saint Denis like feeling the pressure, trying to go for a takedown, and I could see Dustin getting a submission. That's the same thing. Chandler tried to get the sub off on Dustin, and he reversed it and got the rear naked choke. Third round knockout. I definitely could see him finishing. I think he could finish it, but safe bet for me, I'll just say he's going to go to a decision. Because I don't think Dustin's going to take too many risks. I think he's going to do what he's good at. If he catches him and makes him fall, he'll finish it. But Saint Denis is tough, so that's my pick for the fight.
Nah, yeah, man. It's a great breakdown from you as well, man. Again, man, I want to give a special shout out to Jace again for joining us. Y'all go subscribe to his channel. We will put his link down in the description when we're done with this video. And again, thank you so much for joining us, bro. And that won't be the last time he's on the show. Don't worry about that. And yeah, man, moving on to the featured bout of the evening. You can give your pick in this first fight, Nikki. Go ahead. Okay.
So I was going back and forth. I think Anthony W., who's in the chat before, was the one I was going back and forth with on the Discord the other day. We were talking about this fight. It's interesting. So with Kevin Holland, if anyone doesn't know about Kevin Holland, he always makes sure that his opponent is his best friend in the ring. So you're going to see a lot of glove touching right away. Like every time they get a good strike off on each other, he's going to go in for a hit. And MVP, MVP's a friendly dude. This dude, he's a technical striker, bro. There's a video going around. He got knocked out crazy, whatever. He's a technical striker, bro. He knows what he's doing. Kevin Holland is a flashy dude. I don't know if he knows what he's doing. He's a very flashy fighter. He's definitely been improving his ground game. I want to give him a lot of credit there. I don't think this fight's going to touch the ground. I think this is going to be just like Wonder Boy and Holland. Holland's going to be throwing those head kicks. He might even wobble MVP. But this one's going to go to a decision, in my opinion. And I think MVP takes this one. I don't think this is what it should be. I think what this fight should be is Holland putting the UFC name on his chest, and MVP is coming to like get in the way of that. You know what I mean? But I don't think so. I think this is more of a welcome to the UFC, MVP. Go beat this guy, because Kevin Holland just doesn't take his fight serious enough. Like he's okay with whatever happens in the first and second round. Then the third round comes, he needs to turn it around. Look at the JDM fight. Like, I mean, there's no way anyone thought he won that fight. And if you did, you're just a Holland fan. Like, he just got beat up by JDM. So I'm taking MVP in this fight by decision.
Yeah, man, of course. Great breakdown as always from a co-host. Always, man. Yeah, man, I was going to go with Kevin Holland in this one. I just think Kevin Holland, he just doesn't want to lose to this dude, man. He doesn't want to lose to this dude. You can see it like in the press conferences, in the interviews, like he knows what the situation is. They're giving him this Bellator fighter. Of course, that's not at all what this Michael Venom Page is. Been watching this band for an extremely long time. He is a great fighter, really, really devastating striker. We saw what he did to Derek Anderson, Evangelista dos Santos. If y'all don't know, that knockout is when he did the flying knee and he left a massive indentation on Evangelista's head. He had to get like reconstructive surgery. It was
Cracked his skull, right?
It was crazy. It is absolutely insane. And like Derek Anderson's nose, like it exploded when he hit him with the head kick, and like I was shocked that Derek Anderson kept fighting after that. But that lets you know how crazy that sport really is. You feel me? But yeah, man, it's when it comes to the situation, watching all the press conferences, I think Kevin's taking this one extremely serious. At the end of the day, he is coming off a loss. He doesn't want to lose 2 in a row. They gave him that new contract when he beat Hamzat. And from then on there, like, of course, he's only going to get big fights. And I think that he doesn't want to walk away with just half a paycheck. His biggest incentive or his biggest motivation, you could say, right now is money. He always says it. Doesn't mean he doesn't care, about his fights, like for the most part. But it should, like, when there's certain fights that he knows he has to win, he'll definitely turn up. Like, like the Ponzinibbio fight, the Jacare Souza fight, any fight where he knows like he has to get the win. Like he definitely like applies the pressure. And even especially for this one, like he knows what's at stake. He doesn't want to lose to this Bellator fighter. I only say that because that's how he says it, y'all, at the press conference. Like he kept saying over and over, like I'm not losing to that's why they don't pay for Bellator fights versus paying for UFC fights and stuff like that. And he's just saying that like in all the interviews throughout the course of the fight week, he doesn't want to lose to a Bellator fighter. And he said he was fighting bad competition. I think Kevin Holland's gotten way better. He has we know he has a black belt in jiu-jitsu from Travis Lutter. He has a 2-inch reach advantage going into this fight. In the Wonder Boy fight, he was winning some of the exchanges. If you go back, like Wonder Boy's face was red and all that, and Kevin Holland ended up like breaking his hand. I don't know if he broke his hand around round 3 or if it was early in like the second round, but he had made.
I think it was later in the fight he broke his hand.
Okay, I got you. Yeah. He made some errors in the fight, like when he let Wonder Boy up and stuff like that. I really bet like he really thinks about that sometime, and when like really wishes that he didn't let him up just to get the victory, to like. Just to get you get higher up the rankings, you get more money because you get a title fight and main events and stuff like that. And for this fight, I think at the end of the day, it's what I just said a bunch of times. He doesn't want to lose to a dude from Bellator. It's what the situation is. I think he's going to take it serious. There's a lot of footage out on Michael Venom page. I definitely think he's going to just really try to play the game. He really has to just anticipate the shot. We know MVP likes to wait out in the distance with his hands down when he'll go like that, and like he'll like just look left, and you have to anticipate the attack. And if Kevin can time it right, he can send him to sleep. He, at least get the wobble and like get the club and sub, drop him to the ground, maybe get a submission, maybe something along those lines. I don't think Kevin's going to shoot for a blast double leg. But I do think that Kevin's going to try to use his full variety of skills to get the victory. Got my man Luis in the chat. What's up, Luis? Glad you're here, brother. Thank you so much for joining us, bro. And yeah, man, I was going to go with that's hilarious. He said that. I was going to go with Kevin Holland by a second round submission. I think the first round he's going to have to really just really play it safe and assess it. I do think eventually one of these guys will get hurt. I think Kevin can hurt MVP if he just times it right. MVP is 36, going on 37 years old. He's had a lot of fights. I personally, no bias at all. I personally thought he didn't win the third Douglas Lima fight, coming off when he got knocked out by Douglas Lima off the leg kick and the uppercut. So I'm not saying that has anything to do with this fight. I'm just saying like his record might not be, that could be another loss on his record, basically. But yeah, like that's really it for me. I really think Kevin can get this done, man. I think he's gonna take it serious because he knows out of all the people, they picked you to welcome this Bellator legend, this MMA legend. To be quite honest, in my opinion, I like MVP a lot. To welcome this fan favorite to the UFC, and yeah, man, I think he's gonna play it smart. And I got Kevin Holland with a second round club and sub. I think he can hurt him and get him to the ground. Maybe get a submission, hop on top, get a choke. Something like that. Has real long limbs, real unorthodox with the way he'll cinch up those dart strokes, like how he did on Tim Means when he got that dart stroke as well. So yeah, close fight though, real close fight. This is gonna be a really, really massive fight on this card. It's a big narrative in this card as well, y'all. It's a lot of close fights on this card, but it is what it is, y'all. We can only say what we think is going to happen. You literally never know what's going to happen when they walk into the cage. So yeah, but with that being said, gonna move on to this next one. Next matchup on this stacked ass card. This is pretty ridiculous, especially as we go down. You really see how stacked the card is. Yeah, I mean, you can go ahead and go first, Nikki. Go ahead, bro.
All right, so we got the return of Gilbert Burns coming off his shoulder injury or arm injury he had against Bilal Muhammad, and Gilbert had a great year last year. He had every time I forget his first win of his streak. He had the 3 fights on a little notice. He had his first fight, he won. Can't remember. If you remind me, that's great. Then he went and fought Jorge Masvidal or
Neil Magny.
So it was Neil Magny. He beat
Neil Magny. He subbed him, yeah.
Then he beat Jorge Masvidal, retired him. Then he went and fought Bilal, and that fight sucked ass because he was hurt. You know, I would love to see them fight again. Like, I'm not even trying to knock Bilal. Great win on Bilal's record. You beat Gilbert Burns. No one cares about the injury once it's over.
But he couldn't finish him, though, and he was injured.
He couldn't finish a one-armed fighter, and he was literally only throwing with his other arm.
Right.
Now, Gilbert's, 37 years old? I mean, that's 37, closer to 38 than 37. He's getting older. I do think Gilbert's one of the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu artists in the UFC for sure. One of the strongest hitters at welterweight. But this dude, Jack Della Maddalena, is freaking disgusting. He has such good boxing. I'm not even talking about like kickboxing, like just such good boxing and forward pressure that it like Gilbert has to like go with the jiu-jitsu and try and take him down and sub him. Like I bet a lot of people are like taking Gilbert for a submission. I'm taking JDM for a decision as long as his takedown defense is there. I don't know too much about it, like how good he is at it, but I'm damn sure he's not bad at it. I'm just hoping he comes out there and stops. Because if he's not on his A game with his takedown defense and his clinch game, Gilbert will take him down and sub him quick. I mean, Gilbert trains. You'll see Gilbert in everybody's corner. He's training half these dudes, these young dudes. He's teaching them the ropes. So this fight, though, I'm definitely taking JDM by a decision. I really like him. His last fight against Kevin Holland really made me realize, like, this dude's over the hump in the welterweight division. I think Gilbert Burns is already over the hump, but this fight kind of like this fight. If he wins, he fights like one of the top dudes. If he loses, he's gonna have to fight someone lesser. Like I don't think he'll get a rematch with Bilal. So he's gonna have to fight someone under the top 5, obviously. So, what are you thinking for this fight?
It's really crazy, man. It's like it's like every time like someone has to fight one of those welterweight prospects, like, hey, Gilbert, you available? Like, and so now he's coming out, he's calling them up. You feel me? Like, it's really unfortunate. Not for Gilbert. I'm glad that they pay him the big bags to take these fights. Even though they're all up and comers, they're bright prospects. When I say that, Hamzat Chimaev and now Gilbert Burns, I thought he was gonna fight Shavkat. At one point, I thought Gilbert might have fought Shavkat. I know definitely wouldn't have ducked him. So I thought they were gonna fight at some point. But yeah, man, this fight. This is a close one, man. It's a real close one. We saw how Basil Havis was able to take down Jack Della Maddalena all those times. But, of course, we do know that Jack Della Maddalena did take that fight on short notice. He had 2 weight cuts back-to-back. I forgot what opponent he was waiting for, but they got pulled out on the second week. And then he had to just take that next fight against I think it was Sean Brady. Sean Brady was the one that time he was going to fight. And then Basil Havis had stepped in and gave him hell on earth for 3 rounds. And that honestly, like, that got a lot of people off Jack Della Maddalena. And, like, I get it, man. Like, he went through a lot of adversity in that fight. He was exhausted from having to scramble as much as he did. I really feel like if Basil himself had a full camp, I think Basil could have won that fight just off the wrestling pressure. I think it would have been nonstop chain wrestling. Not even Bass wouldn't even use the hands like that, but he was really good with the grappling. And JDM, as he started to take over, that really happened through the takedown defense. As he stuffed, like, it was like it was like he stuffed at like 11 takedowns, and Basso got like 3, so he stuffed like 11 takedowns, something like that. So he definitely does have legit takedown defense. You could definitely say that. And in terms of like the technical boxing in this fight, you have to give it to Jackie. That's like he has special boxing technique. You honestly can't deny it. It really is something special. The way he'll rip to the body and use the techniques. It's just we're starting to see these new revolutionary boxers come into the UFC, and when they do, they have a lot of success. Like Ilia Topuria, you can really make the case he's like next to Max, the best boxer in the featherweight division. You can even say there's some people watching this that say he's better than Max because he knocked out Volkanovski, but of course Volk was coming off the head kick off 4 months, and like that's a whole can of worms you don't really want to like open, But yeah, my point is though, like it's just the technical boxers inside the UFC have a massive advantage over most of the competition because how boxers always say that MMA fighters don't really have like good boxing technique. The way they'll have to throw body shots and like keep like stay on their defense when they throw like like their jabs and their straight punches and like their right hooks and stuff like that. So and of course like that's only like a small percentage of MMA. Most of MMA fighters nowadays do have relatively good boxing. But Jack just has definitely a tier up with his stiffness. He's really, really tight defensively. And it's really, really technical as well. And he does have decent jiu-jitsu. He can scramble when the fight does hit the ground. And yeah, man, this is a pretty crazy fight. Man, dude. What's up, Pick'em, man? Got the boy Pick'em in the chat. Y'all go subscribe to the boy Pick'em MMA. Really, 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 really great dude. He's super, super active, super consistent.
Live all the time. If you go on YouTube, there's a 50% chance he's live talking about something.
Mm-hmm.
So he's always got content for you guys, man. Get in his streams. Go talk. He's very, very active with his chat.
Of course. An awesome dude too. Super, super nice guy. Super humble. Will always answer your questions. No stupid questions. And yeah, guys. Yeah, it's just a super, super, super great guy. Of course, man. Always love having you, bro. Hey, man, just speaking the truth. And yeah, man. I'm not gonna keep us hold up too long with my pick in this one. Man, because a lot of these fights are close, man. When it comes to a fight like this. Like, man, dude, when it comes to a fight like this, like, because Gilbert could have won that fight against Belal Muhammad, but he was injured, you feel me? Because a big thing for me is that, like, I'm really, really big on momentum, you feel me? We know that Gilbert sustained that injury with his collarbone. That was back in May of last year. So he did have some time off coming into this fight, having to recover from a surgery. But we know that Gilbert's had other injuries in the past as well. Man, dude. It's close, man. I hadn't wrote down a pick for this on my paper. I'll usually have a check mark above the name. I hadn't wrote. I don't know if you can see, but I didn't write it down. Because I hadn't had a pick yet. After even doing deeper research into the card live with you guys. Because again, like it really all depends how Gilbert comes off that shoulder injury. We know he's 37 years old. So obviously, like it's not gonna, I don't think he'll get any faster. He still just has a really, really good skill set for what he does in the cage. Yeah, man. I guess I'll go with. Fuck, man.
Trust the gut, bro.
I'll go with the momentum of Jack Della Maddalena. I'll go with the momentum of JDM. I think he's going to walk forward, close the distance, stuff the takedowns. I think he's going to have really good technical boxing. Man, you can make the case on the feet. He is the better boxer. Absolutely. And yeah, man, I really think if he keeps the fight like standing, I really think he can get the victory. Gilbert Burns is a great fighter, obviously. He has good stand-up, good submissions. Any fight can go any way. Just because you see a fighter blaze through a bunch of competition does not mean they cannot lose when the time comes. But for me, I'm just going to go with the momentum of Jack Della Maddalena. He's passed every test so far. He's passed the adversity. He's gotten the knockouts. And I mean, yeah, man, he's looked good. And I think he knows what and he knows what he has to do to win this fight, and he seems really confident as well. And also, Gilbert is coming off the injury, so we don't know if he's prone to that occurring in the fight again, and that being detrimental to his performance. So, yeah, man, I'm gonna go with JDM. This is a close fight, though, y'all. This is a really close fight. I don't really care if people pick switch. Me personally, again, I didn't have a pick for this fight. I only say that because, the card's in 24 hours. If you see us on Twitter and you see me lean to Gilbert Burns instead, it is what it is. But no, I'm not gonna switch my pick though. I'm feeling pretty good about Jack Della Maddalena. Again, I think he has a better technical boxing. I think he can stuff the takedowns. If it hits the ground, I think he's good enough to scramble back to his feet. And yeah, man, I think he'll be the younger, faster fighter. And yeah, man, I think he can get it done for sure. Most definitely. My bad, y'all. That just took me a minute. It was
good. You thought that was a close fight. Look what we got next. Moving on to our next fight, we got Peter Yan versus Song Yadong, man.
Yeah.
This fight's gonna be crazy. I'll go first on this one. Peter Yan, bro. A lot of people are picking Peter Yan straight off of the fact that he's a former champion. With that being said, I'm picking Peter Yan in this fight to win. But not straight off because of that. I just think there's a little more. This is a 3-round fight. But Peter Yan, man, he's just been through a little bit of adversity now. But now he's back to this is a fight that's winnable. He's gonna get his legs kicked off in this fight for sure. I just think he has better striking. Song Yadong's a great fighter. That's why I think it's gonna go to a decision. I don't think either of these dudes will finish each other. But Peter Yan, in all of his fights, okay, the Merab fight, it's a little different, right? He's getting taken down at every chance he's moving around the cage. So he didn't get to showcase much in that fight. But in the O'Malley fight, he was back and forth with Sean O'Malley. I mean, close fight. We're not saying robbery in here. Close fight though, split decision. That's what it is.
Right.
Let's just go down his Aljo fight. He was doing good against Aljo, and the knee. That's what happens. There was a little language thing. He beat Corey Sandhagen. He beat Jose Aldo. He has his names under his resume. Song Yadong's last fight, he was really good. He was fighting Chris Gutierrez. Great fight there. Beat Ricky Simon. He lost to Corey Sandhagen. Beat Marlon Morales. I feel like a lot of dudes in this division have. I just think there's a little bit of a difference between the striking of these two, and difference in skill and how they strike. I'm going to go with Peter Yan for this. If this was a longer fight, I feel like I would pick Song Yadong strictly on the amount of leg kicks he would land on Peter Yan. His leg kicks are disgusting. You're going to hear them. I think Peter Yan will be bruised up pretty early. I just think his striking will definitely win him this fight. He puts together great combos. If I said Sean O'Malley was the best striker in bantamweight, I'd probably put Peter Yan right behind him, honestly.
Nah, man, of course. Great breakdown as always, man. Always love doing these with you. Yeah, man, this is another really, really, really close fight. Obviously, yeah, man, what can you say? What can you say? Obviously, they give you Merab Dvalishvili, Aljamain Sterling. Yeah, those are two hard fights, and even the Sean O'Malley fight, that was a close one as well. Absolutely. I guess I'll get my pick off the rip and give the reasoning why. I was gonna go with Song Yadong in this fight, man. I was gonna go with Song Yadong. Peter Yan is absolutely a former champion. We saw him how he beat Jose Aldo at UFC 251, and how he was fighting Aljamain Sterling at UFC 259. Unfortunately, he was the first ever champion to lose his title via disqualification after throwing an illegal knee. We saw UFC 273, Aljamain won the fight for real, and then moved on, defended the belt and became one of the greatest bantamweights ever. And for Piotr, he lost to Sean O'Malley, and he lost to Merab Dvalishvili. Now, when it comes to Sean O'Malley fight, I get it. A lot of people think that it's gonna a lot of people think it was a robbery. Most online do. Me personally, I thought it was a really close fight, and I feel like the fact that it was a split decision in the first place shows that Peter Yan wasn't that high of a level above Sean O'Malley. I don't think anyone can make it a unanimous decision. I thought Peter Yan was landing some really good. Sean was landing really good strikes in that fight. Piotr did land some really good strikes, like that really big right hand in like the second round that wobbled Sean for sure. But I thought Sean landed some good uppercuts, some good hooks. He landed a really good head kick at one point that cut Piotr above the eye. That was a beautiful head kick he landed. It was a really, really crazy fight, you know. And I get, like, you know, Piotr got the takedowns. Of course, he couldn't really lay any ground and pound, but he did get the control time. And it was really big, you know, a really close fight. But they did give it to Sean. And I feel like that was credit to Sean's skill set with how close that fight was. A lot of people thought Sean was going to go in there and get destroyed. At the time of the fight, he was, like, you know, like Piotr was like a minus like 500 or something like that over the current bantamweight champion. So, and I feel like that really showed you that Sean was on his way. And yeah, man, I really feel like, not that Piotr was declining, but that some of the rest of the division was competitive with him on his rise. You know, like the fight that got him the title shot, I'm pretty sure it was the Uriah Faber win. You know, and Uriah Faber was like 40 years old at the time when he got the victory, you know. And you're not having revisionist history, but I feel like if that was a younger Faber, that fight definitely would have been a little closer. We know that, speaking of Uriah Faber, that is actually Song Yadong's coach over at Team Alpha Male out in Sacramento, California. I feel like that's one of the biggest aspects about this fight is that Uriah Faber is a Hall of Famer. He's extremely intelligent. He can give his pupil a great game plan going into this fight. He fought Piotr Yan himself. He knows how physically strong he is, how hard he hits, how hard he kicks. Uriah felt all of it. So I really think that he can give his student a really good game plan. Even if Song goes out there with a bunch of bravado and tries to just box the boxer like that, I think if he loses the first round, Uriah will tell him to switch it up in the second. Song has really good leg kicks, good boxing combinations. We've saw him put dudes out cold on numerous occasions. Song Yadong extremely powerful, and he does have 5-round cardio. He's trained for 5 rounds. He's gone 5 rounds. Even when he was fighting Corey Sandhagen, some people thought that was 2-2 going into the 5th round until Corey landed that really massive elbow that just cut him above the eye, and Song Yadong couldn't fight anymore. And obviously that showed how tough Song Yadong is. He started smiling after the cut was landed on his face. So that definitely really shows that that he's extremely tough, man. He's not in there just to try to, you know, like get some money or like try to get some experience. He's coming to win. He's 26 years old, but he's been fighting since he was like 16. So he's very advanced for his age. I don't think this will be a product of, like, you know, the young dude trying to fight the veteran or anything like that. I think Song's in his prime right now. I think that he has a lot of momentum. And again, he's coming from a great camp when his coach fought Piotr Yan himself. And also, the big part about it for me is, like, how is Piotr Yan going to approach this fight? How is he going to approach this fight? Is he going to finally start throwing from the first round? We know that Piotr Yan likes to download data, like when he'll close up, but he'll shell up the first round or so, just to see how hard the opponent hits, see how their combinations look, if they know the proper distance management and things of that nature. And Piotr Yan still wouldn't throw like that round 2. Like, I'm picking him in fights, and he's not throwing in 3 and 4. Like, it's like, man. And of course, that's just his fight style. I get it, you know. He won a UFC title fighting like that, you know. But at the same time, I just really think that Song's in a really good place right now. I don't think he's underestimating him at all. Again, his coach fought him, and they definitely watched that fight back as a part of the highlight, you know, like as a part of the film. And this is a really, really close fight either way. I'm not going to lie to you. This can literally go either way. I'm not going to act like, you know, Piotr Yan isn't the better technical striker, but I do think Son is bigger. I do think he hits harder than Piotr Yan. We'll see if they wrestle. We'll see if they grapple. We know that Team Alpha Male is full of wrestlers, so I do think Song Yadong is definitely wrestling. And this is just his overall development. He can speak English now, you know, and that really shows how hard he is as a worker and his work ethic in and out of the cage. And yeah, man, I really think that he's in a good place right now. He has a lot of momentum, and he's watching all the film on Piotr Yan. And yeah, man, I think he's going to be real physical, very aggressive, show no fear. He's already fought the top dudes of the bantamweight division. It's not like he wasn't competitive with Corey Sandhagen. And I know that Piotr Yan beat Corey Sandhagen, but Corey took that fight on short notice. And I thought Corey won the first 2 rounds. If Corey had a real 5-round cardio, Corey could have absolutely won that fight if he didn't slow down in 3 and 4. And Petr Yan obviously looked great. He landed that spinning back fist, like that double spinning back fist. He landed that spinning head kick at the end of round 5. He looked great against Corey Sandhagen. But again, he did take that on short notice. Song Yadong had a full camp. When he saw that name across the paper, he was definitely extremely inspired. He has been training extremely hard for this fight. Same for Petr. This will be his 4th loss in a row if he does lose. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I was going to go with Song Yadong. I was going to go with Song Yadong by a decision. I don't think he'll finish Petr Yan. Petr Yan is very durable. I just want him to use the full skill set, man. Use the body kicks. Use the leg kicks. Like, it's going to be a war. If like you win or lose, I think it's going to go to a decision, whether Petr wins by decision or Song wins by decision. I definitely just want to see a great fight. I think it's going to be a close fight. Really, really close fight. And we're going to see how it goes, man. But yeah. And yeah, shout out to Pick'em again. I know the boy Pick'em is also picking Song Yadong going into this fight. He himself said he's not that confident, but it is that kind of fight. And yeah, guys, thank y'all so much for joining us for the pay-per-view portion of the card. We're gonna go ahead and blast through these prelims for y'all, so I'm gonna get this breakdown going. And thank y'all so much.
Before we move on, Pick'em, didn't Vergara didn't he miss weight by a pound?
Cesar Vergara, yeah, I think Cesar Vergara, yeah, he weighed in like 127, I think so, something like that. I think he would have been the only fighter, unfortunately. And I think it's his 3rd time. Quick podcast side note: it's his 3rd time missing flyweight. We're gonna see how they, what they do about that. I don't think he's too small for bantamweight. I think he could move up, like if he wanted to. Like, but I mean, of course, like that's the fight, like that's the division he's been at for a while now. I'm pretty sure he's comfortable, but of course, if he can't make the weight, he can't fight in it, unfortunately. But shout out to
flyweights that can't make flyweight. We don't gotta name names, but there's a few. One of them just got scheduled for a fight.
Manel Kape.
Yeah, is it because he can't make weight, or is it because he just cancels every fight? I don't know. One or the other.
I'm not sure.
I don't think he'll end up fighting this one. He's probably not going to fight again until he fights Kai Kara France. That'll be his next fight. When I see him get fight news, I used to get hyped about it, but at this point, it's so hard. Like, people call him for title shots, and he doesn't even fight these like mid-ranked flyweights. It's so annoying. He's a great fighter, and it doesn't seem like he's locked in. I don't know.
I agree. Yeah, man, it was really that was a massive setback for the whole division, to be quite honest with you. When Manel Kape missed weight like that was really unfortunate, man. He really fumbled the bag, unfortunately. But it's all good though, we'll see what happens. They rebooked the fight for UFC Vegas 91, I believe. So we'll see how it goes. Can't give no early predictions. We plan on doing a breakdown of that card. So but yeah, still, shout out to Manel Kape, and I do want to see that rematch with Alexandre Pantoja eventually. That was his UFC debut, Pantoja. It's crazy how Pantoja really marked all of these dudes off the list. Like, it's really crazy. It's literally crazy. But yeah, y'all, moving on to the prelims. Thank y'all so much again for joining us. We're gonna get through these relatively quickly. And and again, for those of you that are watching LFA right now in the One Fight Night card, thank you again for joining us for the time that you're sparing. And yeah, much appreciated. Yeah, man, going into this prelim, it's a close fight. That's another one. I was gonna go with Curtis Blades, man. I think he's fought really, really good competition. I get it, Jelton Almeida's on a tear right now. I think that Jelton Almeida, he used to fight at 205, and then he moved up to heavyweight. He weighs in usually about 235, 240, somewhere around there. Curtis has to cut to get to 265. And I do think the size advantage is going to pay dividends. Damn, man. There was a knockout. Damn. It's all right, yo. We'll pull up for that LFA card when this is done, of course. I can't wait to watch that when this is over. But yeah, man, with Curtis, I really think that just like going into this fight, he'll be really inspired for this matchup. Like, I ain't gonna lie, y'all, I'm pretty superstitious. You feel me? And one of the things about Curtis is like his hair. You feel me? It's one of his trademarks. And normally, it's just a real fresh cut. When he showed up for the past few fights, Curtis ain't even gotten a haircut. So I definitely think there was something definitely going on with him personally that might have been affecting his training camps. Watching his Instagram, he's putting out promotional stuff about the fight. He's saying Jelton Almeida's easy money. I want this matchup. Like he's saying like all that kind of stuff. You know, I really think that Curtis is really inspired to get this victory. We know he trains up in Denver, Colorado, so we know he has great cardio. He's an amazing wrestler, obviously. He hasn't. He shot a takedown against Sergey Pavlovich, but it was a little too late in the fight, and that was in the small cage where Sergey was able to close the distance faster, and Curtis really couldn't get the distance to explode and shoot across the cage the way he likes to. Of course, it will be kind of interesting to see how he's going to take down this jiu-jitsu practitioner. I just think it's going to hit the ground. I don't. Like, man, unless, Almeida could maybe get to his back or something like that, but I think Curtis is extremely physically strong. I don't think Almeida will be able to pick him up. You know, he's not he's not Shamil Abdurakhimov or nothing like that. This is a young heavyweight. He's only 1 year older than Curtis. I thought that, Jilton Almeida is a great fighter, but at one point I did think that, like, at a certain point he is going to, like, maybe hit his ceiling in terms of his weight. His body. Don't get me wrong, he's absolutely shredded in terms of his physique, but I think that, like, Curtis, like, he's like a real heavyweight. Curtis can't make 205. Jilton Almeida can make 205 with ease, and I think he would do good down there. There's not that many grapplers at 205. I think he would do great at 205. Of course, there's some really good strikers down there, but still. And also that's another thing, we have seen Curtis knock out some decent strikers before. He knocked out Chris Dawkins. He was looking good against Derek Lewis, man. Like, in the first round, like, he was a minus 440, like a minus 455 favorite, and he was looking great, man. Derek Lewis has the most knockouts in UFC history. Like, that's Curtis's biggest kryptonite. It's power punchers. This is all his losses are to Francis Ngannou, Sergey Pavlovich, and Derek Lewis. So. All three men, their power got them to a title shot. You feel me? So, Derek Lewis had 2 title shots. You feel me? So it's like, and that's his power keeping him relevant in the division, And I really think that, going into this fight, you see the Jilton Almeida, who'll normally throw, like, his kick up the middle, like a jab, and then he'll do, like, the blast double leg. I don't know if we'll be able to take Curtis Blaydes down, man. I think if Curtis can, like, stuff the takedown with a sprawl, or even, like, get the underhooks, keep him up, and just separate, I think Curtis will be physically stronger. I think he will hit harder on the feet. Jilton Almeida has been knocked out before. It was a long, long time ago. But like I always say on this show, if a fighter has been knocked out one time in their career, it can happen again. I don't care if it was the first fight to the last fight of their career. And I'm not being cocky at all. I know that Jilton Almeida can 100% win this fight. Everywhere you look, this is a minus 110 betting odds. This is pretty insane. I'm not going to lie to you. It's just pretty ironic, man, because, like, Jilton Almeida is finally fighting another grappler. So how is this going to look, But, yeah, man, this is a close fight. I think Curtis has fought the better competition. I do. I think that the people that knocked out Curtis Blaydes would knock out Jilton Almeida, especially Francis Ngannou. Shout out to Francis Ngannou. We just saw him, lose a few hours, about an hour prior to this, but he's still a future Hall of Famer. Hopefully, we know Dana. But yeah, man, I was gonna go with Curtis Blaydes in this fight. I was gonna go with Curtis Blaydes by like a second round TKO. I think Jilton Almeida is gonna be shooting like hell, and not shooting like in a bad way. I think he's just gonna keep the pressure up, really keep trying to blast. Curtis is gonna have to stuff the takedowns over and over, maybe try to get a takedown of his own to gain the respect, and then eventually Jilton Almeida will be kind of tired of not have gone that. Of course he just went 5 rounds with Derek Lewis, but he couldn't even finish Derek Lewis on the ground. You feel me? So what's he gonna do if he gets a great grappler like Curtis Blaydes to the ground? And that was Derek on short notice as well, too. So, and yeah, man, we're gonna see how this goes. It's a close fight. I got Curtis Blaydes, man. I think he can stuff the takedowns and get like a second round TKO, or second round TKO, or win a decision, something like that. But I got Curtis Blaydes, man.
Yeah, we're gonna split paths again. I'm taking Jilton Almeida in this fight. He's a great fighter, dude. A lot of people don't like the decision win against Derek Lewis, but no one wants to get punched in the face from Derek Lewis. So if you lay on top of him for 15 minutes, it's gonna. Was it 15 or was it 20? What was it?
25.
It was 20.
25
If you lay
minutes.
on him for 25 minutes, it's gonna very, very, very lower the chance you get punched in the face by him. So very smart way to fight Derek Lewis if you're not gonna just be able to finish him. I feel like he could have submitted Derek Lewis, but like Derek Lewis wasn't just standing up. But you know they're gonna hurt each other in this fight. It's gonna be a lot of grappling too. Everyone knows this fight like revolves around their grappling. And these are probably two of the best grapplers at heavyweight, if not the two best grapplers at heavyweight. And everyone knows like Curtis Blades is bigger. Like Jailton Almeida, he has like that. I would compare his body frame to like light heavyweight John Jones if he just like put on a little more muscle and a little more weight instead of going all the way up to what is a 260. If he just put on weight slowly and moved up to heavyweight like right away from light heavyweight, this is what he would have looked like at heavyweight. And Almeida is just going to be so much quicker, I feel. Just moving around. He's going to be really pesky, a lot of pressure, and I just think he'll be able to just be better in this fight. I'm going to do exactly the opposite. I'll say second round submission or decision win for Almeida.
Where nah, man, like yo, like this shows you how close these fights are. And like, hey, man, at the end of the day, like I said, bro, no one really knows what's about to happen. This is pretty insane. But yeah, we're gonna see what happens, man. It's a great fight. And yeah, man, moving on to the next one. Yeah, go ahead and get these prelims done for you guys. Yeah, I was gonna go with Macy Barber in this one, bro. Let's go on with the youth of Macy Barber. We know Caitlin Chukagi and Caitlin Serminara. I apologize. Caitlin has a great skill set. You know, she's a great counter striker, great point fighter. You know, great footwork. Good, you know, also last time I checked, she was a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. That was a long time ago, though. So I'm pretty sure she's leveled up since then. But yeah, Macy Barber. I was gonna go with Macy by decision. I think she's ready. I think she's gonna rise to the occasion. I think she's made for this moment. She's finally found her gym. You know, and like that's really big for her, you know, in terms of just bettering the skill set. She can finally like get some coaches that she'll trust and that really know her fight style. And yeah, man, I was gonna go with Macy by decision in this one.
I'm also a Macy. I got Macy winning by a knockout in this one. She definitely has the finish ability. A lot of female fighters don't. We talk about this, but I think she has a great finish ability. She's also riding a 5-fight win streak, and she's younger. So I just put my odds with her. I think Macy Barber will finish this fight.
Yeah, moving on.
We got Reyes here. You got the camera. I'll take this one first. Last fight, RDA was fighting at welterweight. He moves between lightweight and welterweight frequently, if I recall. He was fighting a very big Vicente Luque in that fight. Vicente took him down a lot in that fight, kept getting back up. With Gamrot, I mean, so RDA is going to be fighting a smaller fighter here, but he's also going to be slightly smaller. Gamrot is a great sprawler. Lightweight produces a lot of great sprawlers. It's just going to be relentless. Gamrot was also supposed to be weighing in to fight for a title, so if that means what it meant to mean, he should be winning this fight. Simple as that. I got Gamrot winning this one by, I think I said decision. I said decision, yeah.
Yeah, man. If this was 5 years ago, 6 years ago, like something like that, I'm not gonna lie, like I would be taking the former UFC lightweight champion. You know, like if they were both 30 years old, I would take RDA. We know he could strike with the strikers and he could grapple with the grapplers. He's a really high level BJJ artist as well as great power in the hands. But of course, he's 39 years old now, man, and like in the lightweight division, it's not his fault, you know. He's fighting two people in this fight. He's fighting Gamrot and he's fighting Father Time, you know. And so it's just a big disadvantage, you know, when you're fighting two opponents on the same night, you know. So it's really just, it's honestly unfortunate. And yeah, honestly, I do want to shed some light on this right quick. This too, I thought Fizio was looking great against Gamrot until, like, you know, he threw a kick and we know it messed up his ankle, unfortunately. And yeah, I mean, I thought it was a close first round, but I did think that Rafael did win that first round. Luis, indeed, I did as well. But yeah, man, it's not like I'm not pooping on Gamrot or nothing. He is a great fighter. I do think that he should have got the title shot. instead of Volkanovski. He had 294. We saw him weigh in as a backup and make weight and everything, and he still didn't get the title shot. So I would like to see him get one pretty soon. And yeah, man, I was gonna go with Gamrot via decision. Before we move on, like, where do you rank RDA in the top 10 lightweights in martial arts history?
Like of all time?
Like, yeah, you know, like, yeah, you got Charles, Islam,
Yeah, so like
Khabib.
obviously we'll put Khabib, Charles, Islam. Those are like 3 guarantees. You also got
the BJ
Frankie
Penn,
Edgar, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd put him there. He's definitely in the top 10.
I think he's top 10. I think he's like 8, 9, maybe. He has 2 belts at home.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he has 2 belts at home. So I
Eddie
always,
Alvarez.
You feel me?
There's a few names before him for sure, but I mean, yeah, top 10 is fair to put.
I mean, he might be 10, but at least he's in the top 10. I mean, for real, I
feel like he just bounced between lightweight and welterweight a lot in his career.
Mm-hmm. And he fought for the welterweight belt. You know, if he would have won, if he would have won the interim title, I gave it the interim title, but that would have been 2 undisputeds and an interim at home. That'd be 3 belts at home. That'd be crazy. But of course, shout out to Rafael dos Anjos, the future UFC Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer, without a doubt. He has 2 belts at home. In NBA terms, that's 2 rings at home. So congratulations to Rafael on a great career. Not saying he's going to retire or anything like that. And it's pretty funny. Gamrot fought both Rafaels. He fought Fiziev in Dos Anjos. That's pretty funny. And yeah, man, I was going to go to Gamrot just via decision. I think he's going to just wrestle, get some control time. I don't think it's going to be dominant, though. I do think the RDA is going to scramble with him and just, like, you know, strike. But I do think that Gamrot will get a takedown here and there, get some more control time as, like, it hits round 2 and 3. And just that age will set in, that gas tank will set in, you know. But shout out to RDA, man. Shout out to Rafael dos Anjos, without a doubt. And yeah, man, this fight's pretty crazy as well. Really interesting. Got the up and comer against the veteran. It's funny I say the veteran when his nickname's the Young Punisher. But yeah, man, I was gonna go with Kyler Phillips in this fight. I was gonna go with the Matrix. I just think the footwork's gonna be really, really good for him in this fight. I know that Pedro Munoz is a grizzled veteran. Absolutely, he is. But I think that Kyler Phillips is really coming into his own right now. At 28 years old, he trains at the MMA lab with Sean O'Malley, the bantamweight champion, on this card. So it's always good when you have a champion in your training camp with you, you know, to give you guidance. And, you know, some of that's going to rub off on you. Kyler is 3 years younger than O'Malley, so you can definitely learn from him. And yeah, man, I think Kyler's a great fighter. I love his footwork. He's really dynamic. He has a good jab. Good boxing combinations, good kickboxing combinations. How do the 1-2, you know, implemented with the roundhouse kicks. And it's good movement. I like how he circles around the cage like that. It's super cool. And his backflip during his introduction is really cool. Not like that has anything to do with the fight. Yeah, man, I think he's a good fighter. Pedro Munoz has great leg kicks. He has good power in both hands. We've seen him score knockouts. He's a good grappler as well. I just really think that he's 37 years old going into this fight. You know, 37 at bantamweight is extremely hard to get past. We saw Henry Cejudo try to go toe-to-toe with Merab Dvalishvili, but by the second round, Henry was exhausted, and Merab just picking him up and slamming him down and carrying him and, you know, saying what's up to Mark Zuckerberg during the fight and all that. And so, you know, like, at being 37 years old in the bantamweight division, extremely difficult. And fighting a young, hungry lion, you know, it's pretty hard on its own. But we saw Pedro look good against Chris Gutierrez, you know, a dude younger than him. And I believe he dropped Gutierrez at one point. You know, Pedro looked good in that fight. So, but I'm going to go with Kyler, though, just the young momentum. I know he's had his ups and downs, but I think that he is coming to his own now. And eventually all those screws are going to get tightened. And we will see the full divine version of the Matrix. And I think we're going to see that in this fight. So I'm going to go with Kyler Phillips by decision. Pedro's tough.
Mm-hmm. Listen, maybe Pedro could make his nickname the Young Punisher because he's punishing young dudes. But I don't think he'll start with Kyler Phillips. Maybe after this fight if he keeps going. I got Kyler Phillips, but I got him by decision in this fight. I think, there's going to be a speed difference. Great striking, like you said, trains with O'Malley. It's really big. Just leave it at that. I got Kyler Phillips winning this one.
Mm-hmm. I just want to put this on screen right quick. Yeah, be the band drinking. For
Yo,
real,
the
yeah.
Drake curse killed Nagano, man. It's official. The Drake curse is real. If
Did
he
he
bets
really
on
bet on
you,
him?
to stop. Yeah, he put 600K on him, I think, or was it a mil to win another 600K?
Oh my
Bro,
god.
Drake needs to stay up, bro. If Drake bets on you, bro, just pull a Raul Rojas Jr. and say you got a stomach bug or something.
I
Shit
mean,
loses.
yo, that's crazy. Damn,
Yeah.
yeah, man. He put up 615,000. That's
Mhm.
crazy on Ngannou's head, bro. Oh my god. And I mean, it is what it is, bro. Shout out to Ngannou, bro. I feel you though, pick him for sure, bro. You can go first, Nikki. Go ahead, bro.
This was one of my last picks. I made this one right before.
It was
Um,
it was pretty hard, yeah.
yeah. I got Kutalaba winning this one.
Lava.
I'm so out of order on my thing, so I can't. Here's at the end. I have him winning by a first round knockout. That's what I got. I actually saw them when they were facing off, and he looked like a freaking psychopath too. So
Yeah, man. I'm gonna go with Kutilaba in this fight as well, man. I know Felipe Lins can definitely get this fight done, man. Especially if it makes it out the first round, bro. I just think he's getting older. He's 38. I think Kutilaba is gonna try to blitz him in the first round and get him out of there. And Kutilaba himself is not a bad wrestler, not a bad BJJ artist himself. I know he got submitted by Johnny Walker. That's a contender. Kennedy and Zechuku is a specimen. I think he has a lot of potential. We saw him get a knockout over Tanner Boser. So I know Tanner Boser isn't the highest level of competition, but it's still good to see that he just still has the power in his hands. He's still really strong, really dynamic, really fast. And yeah, man, with this fight, I think that just with Felipe Lins, that he's getting a little older. He's 38 now. He's on a 3-fight winning streak, but like some of the wins aren't the best. Like Maxim Grishin was kind of older himself. Like that was kind of like not the most entertaining fight. And even then, when it comes to his victories, he looked decent. But even the Vincent Prue fight, Vincent Prue, I'm kind of surprised he's still fighting. But he's a great fighter though. Of course, like he was, when he was younger, challenged for the interim title against John Jones. Yes, he did. Vincent Prue, and he got the one over Marcin Prachnio. But Marcin Prachnio himself was kind of up and down inside the UFC. He was 4-5, even though he just got a win over Devin Clark. But still, I think Kutelaba can get this done in the first round. I'm gonna go with Kutelaba for a first round knockout. It's not a lazy pick, y'all. I just really think that he knows that's his best bet to win this fight. An aggressive Kutelaba, when he's on and focused, he's really dangerous, and I think he can hurt Felipe in the first round and get him out of there. We'll see what happens to Felipe. He's a grizzled veteran himself. He's seen a lot of styles. He won the PFL $1 million a few years ago. It's crazy. He won $1 million. He's still fighting. I guess that's just for the love of the game. But yeah, man, I was gonna go with Kutelaba on this one for sure.
Good. Got 4 more.
Yeah, I'm almost done with the card, y'all. Yeah, in this one, man, I was gonna go with Michel Pereira in this fight, man. I think he's really dynamic. He has good boxing, good defense as well, man. He honestly has pretty good defense. I know he plays around a lot, but if you look at the record, he's on a winning streak right now. So when he's focused, he's actually really dangerous. He has really, really good boxing countering. Extremely powerful with both hands. He does have to cut a lot of weight, but he makes the weight safely almost every time. It's just it's just when he's focused, he's super dynamic, super dangerous. He'll fly off the cage sometimes, but still he'll have some good spinning back kicks, good body kicks, good leg kicks. Decent cardio too. We've seen him win unanimous decisions, in split decisions, like the one over Santiago Ponzinibbio, and we saw him finish Andre Petroski the way he did. That was a great win in my opinion. And that's another thing. He's moving up to middleweight in this fight. And I think that's gonna pay dividends for him. I think that's gonna be really, really good for him in this matchup. Not having to cut that extra 15 pounds. Just knowing he can rehydrate even more. He'll be even bigger in the cage. He's still a massive middleweight, to be quite honest. That lets you know how big he was as a welterweight. And yeah, man, I was gonna go with Michel Pereira in this fight. I think he's gonna focus. I think he's gonna play it smart. Get the victory. I know it's in Miami. It's in Miami. Like that crowd's gonna be pretty insane. They're gonna be cheering. He's probably gonna want to dance. This walkout, he'll probably take like 15 minutes to get to the cage. You feel me? Because he's definitely gonna be dancing for sure when he walks out. But yeah, man, I'm gonna go with Michel.
Yeah, I'm also taking Michel Pereira in this fight. He's just like, now that he's gonna be at middleweight, we don't have to worry about like, is he even gonna be at the fight? He'll be there, and when he's at the fight, he puts on a show. But it's not just like a flashy one. It's like one where he's gonna put you out. I got him winning by knockout. I don't know when, but it'll happen. I got Michel winning by knockout.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, y'all. And yeah, I don't know if any of y'all are looking at that LFA card that's going on. There's some of those results are pretty insane. It's a bunch of finishes on that card right now. Of course, but of course, thank y'all for joining us though. And moving on to our last few fights of the evening, early prelims. Yeah, man, I'm gonna go with Rebels to Spain by first round knockout. It's really more so about this fight. I just want to see what he does inside the UFC, man. Let's see what he does. It's pretty interesting to see that he's here. He's 6'7" with an 87-inch reach, so he most definitely is a specimen in every sense of the word. This dude's an absolute killer. Finishing dudes in less than 4 seconds, But of course, that's dudes making their debut, 0-0 guys, 0-1 guys. Josh Parisian is most definitely the best fighter he's ever faced in his entire mixed martial arts career. He's a former bronze medalist in the Olympics for Taekwondo, so he is really dynamic when he wants to throw the kicks. And yeah, I mean, we're just gonna see how this goes. If it makes out the first round, that'd be pretty scary for some dudes that are betting on Robelis. But we'll see how it goes. We got to see how he deals with the cardio. We saw how Braxton Smith came into the UFC and tried to finish Parker Porter in the first round. And Braxton Smith got cut after the first fight because he gassed out in like 2 minutes. And you saw, you even heard DC said it. He's already tired. And he just fell to the ground and just but we'll see how this fight goes. But yeah, I mean, I am excited to see how this guy does. He's 35 years old. In my opinion, he's in his prime right now, especially not having that many fights under his belt. He's barely taking any damage. So I think he's just getting started. And we're going to see what happens with Robelis to Spain, man.
Yeah, I'm also taking the same exact pick. I got Robelis winning by a first round knockout. That's his only the only thing that's easy, it's fair for us to pick. If it doesn't go, a lot of people have been saying, and I agree, you could just look at him and be like, dude, this might be one of those guys who gets taken down and just held for the whole fight. So I'm gonna take him for a first round knockout. If it goes past that, he's probably gonna lose a decision. Josh has a really weird frame. He doesn't stand out. He's nothing too impressive, but he could definitely win that fight if he weathers the first round. But just to follow the pack, I guess I'm gonna take Robelis. Be too bad. I'll take Robelis winning this one by first round knockout.
All right, bet yeah, man. It's probably how it's gonna go. Shout out to Josh Parisian for stepping out there, man, and fighting this monster. Hey, man, all credit to him. Hopefully he gets paid, and we'll see what happens after. And hey, he could win. Anything can happen in a fight. You literally never know. But yeah, guys, as we move on to our last two fights of the evening, now we'll see if this fight is still happening. We know CJ Vergara missed weight a few hours ago, unfortunately. It sucks, it's really unfortunate for CJ. Normally, he's had his issues, like we just said, with flyweight. It's unfortunate. He's missed a couple times now. We're gonna see what they decide to do if they do make him go up to bantamweight. I think that'd be beneficial for both parties. The UFC has a fair amount of patience sometimes. We saw how they, for Alex Perez, at least for his cancellations. Of course, that was for some medical issues, but they gave Alex Perez a lot of chances to get back into the cage, and we saw what happened. He looked good against Mohamed Mokaev. He looked like that number 7 rank next to his name was definitely deserved, 100%. And yeah, man, going into this fight, we're gonna see how it goes if it does happen. But if it does happen, I gotta sue by decision. I think this guy's just super polished, has a lot of momentum. Obviously, y'all can see his record, and I think he's a great fighter, man. He's really well rounded. And I was gonna go with the Sue Amabayev in this fight.
I also got Mubayev. I got him winning by submission.
Okay, bet. Got that subby. Sounds good. Yeah, man, it's gonna be a pretty fun fight. We'll see if it happens though. Like I said, CJ did miss weight, unfortunately. But yeah, and with this, I want to give a big shout out to Joanne Wood. Everyone knows this is her retirement fight, of course, and this is a rematch. I want to give a big shout out to JoJo. I remember when she was rocking the black hair a long time ago. Back when she was 5-0 and all that, and like it's just crazy to see how she's here. She's still here. She's fought through all these ups and downs, throughout her career. We saw her get married. We saw her go from Joanne Calderwood to Joanne Wood. She married John Wood. It's pretty funny. He took the Calder away. And yeah, she's a great human being. Dana said it herself. Like, when she lost one of her recent fights, they asked, "What are you gonna do with her?" Or it's like she won it, and it was in her contract. And Dana said with no hesitation, like, she's not going anywhere. We love her, And that was after her losing some fights. And I don't think they would feed Joanne Calderwood. They wouldn't feed Joanne to like no up and comers like that. They like her. They're gonna give her some fights she can win, But unfortunately, like, I don't think she's gonna win this one. Unfortunately, this is a rematch. We saw Marina Moroz win the first fight via submission. I know that Marina Moroz is coming off 2 losses right now. But me personally, I think those girls would beat Joanne. Not trying to take anything away from Calderwood. Wood. Not trying to take anything away at all. I just really think that Karine Silva and Jennifer Maia would probably beat Joanne Wood, especially Karine Silva with her 100% finishing rate. She's a killer, literally. Yeah, man. I think it's honestly gonna go similar to the first fight. We saw her get the armbar in the first round back in April of 2015. I'm gonna go with Marina Moroz by a first round sub. I think she can get the rear naked choke. Joanne Calderwood is definitely still a fairly good striker herself. We saw her outstrike a striker in Luana Carolina, even though that was a split decision. It was just still a really competitive fight. But excuse me, y'all. The biggest thing going into this fight is that most people around MMA, they don't pick fighters that are about to retire. It's kind of hard to give your utmost effort in the cage when you're going to get a paycheck, a fairly decent paycheck, regardless if you win or lose. It's a retirement fight, so they're probably going to send her off with a nice paycheck, probably give her a bonus either way if she wins or loses, but just to benefit her for the rest of her life. And yeah, man, shout out to Joanne. I love watching her fight. She was a great ambassador. She's a real nice woman, real friendly, always taking pictures with fans and stuff like that. And yeah, man, we saw her go from unmarried to married. She's probably gonna start a family soon. She's a whole different person now. She's rocking her blonde hair and all that stuff. She's like a whole different girl now. So it's really cool to see her come this far. And I love the UFC, so I love the fighters that put their bodies on the line for our entertainment, because they do not have to do that. They choose to, and I always appreciate that. And shout out to Joanne Calderwood, forever.
Yeah, for the last pick of the night, last pick of the 200 saga, I got Marina Moroz winning by second round submission.
Facts, man. Again, like the last 200s, man. It's pretty crazy, man. We made it all the way here. Bro. I want to give a big shout out to my boys that popped out for this live stream. My boy Pickham, my boy Kim. Like, guys, please again go subscribe to his work. He's a great guy, super nice dude. My boy Luis, always in Pickham's chat, super nice guy himself, man. Always showing out, always showing love. You feel me? And yeah, man. Like shout out to my man RJ's as well for popping out tonight. I know he had to go to work. You feel me? But obviously, everybody got to eat. Everybody got to get that money. You feel me? So I definitely want to thank RJ's again for showing up. He's great guy, great YouTuber himself. Y'all should definitely go check out his content. He's super consistent. Just like the boy Pickham is. And yeah, man, this was a great card. If I had to give my number on it, and you know what? Honestly, I thought about this, y'all. Because I'm always calling UFC pay-per-views movies and stuff like that. You feel me? So I'm gonna start given like 5-star ratings and stuff like that. Like, out of 5 stars and stuff like that. For me, I gotta give this card 5 stars on paper. This movie is probably gonna be an instant classic. I'm not gonna lie to you. The previews look pretty crazy. Yeah, they're asking for the MMAHOLICS parlay. Yeah, Nikki, if you're placing any bets, you can definitely go ahead and hit.
We're gonna go with the Sean O'Malley money line. We're gonna go with the Dustin Poirier money line. We're gonna take we're gonna leave MVP and Kevin Holland off our parlays for fair reasons. We're gonna take Song Yudong and Peter Yan going the distance. What else? What else we looking like? I definitely say throw that Marina submission on there for sure.
If you want to lock, I'll say Robelas to Spain.
Yeah, it's just like if that fight goes past the first, I'm scared.
First round.
I think a Gamrot decision for sure too. I feel like that's a lock.
That too.
And leave JDM fight off. Leave JDM's fight and MVP's fight off. Honestly, those are the dangerous fights to stay away from because they could go either way.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. The JDM fight with the Gilbert, the Song Yudong and Piotr Yan. Those 2 fights are absolutely razor close. It doesn't matter what you say. Literally, I don't care, y'all, who you're talking to throughout the fight week, what your friend is saying. That fight is close as hell. So, again, what I think y'all get for popping out with us, really do appreciate it. This is a fantastic card. Depending how it goes, we might go live after the card, especially if some crazy ass stuff happens that everyone's talking about that we just got to talk about instantly after. We might not wait till like next Monday or anything like that. And yeah, y'all, this is a fantastic card. I think the next fight night is Rose Namajunas versus Amanda Ribas. I think that's next week. Either way, y'all can definitely check our social media to see the next day, next week, and then we will be going live. Again, I want to give a big shout out to the boys, Anthony, and make clips, for showing up. You feel me? Really sorry that I missed Jose Canceres in the chat. I'm so sorry about that. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We're really glad you got to make it. Any closing remarks from the boys in the chat? The boy, picking saying take it easy. God bless y'all. Thank you so much for popping out. Yeah, man, really appreciate y'all coming out here, man, and really giving y'all some of your time to watch the fights and stuff like that. Always breaking them down. And yeah, Nikki, you got anything else to say, or are you good, bro?
That's it, man. We're less than 24 hours away. We are about 24 hours away from the Dustin Poirier fight, just about on the dot. So, soon, one sleep away.
Yeah, literally, yeah. It's 11:15 for us on the East Coast, y'all. So it's probably going to be around this time when it happens. And it's a 14-fight card, y'all. It's been a pretty long time since we've had a 14-fight pay-per-view. For the most part, we only get like 11, 10, stuff like that. So, it's a fully stacked card, UFC 299 or 300 are 2 of the most stacked cards, if not the most stacked cards, literally, in UFC history. It's going to be pretty hard to go back into the UFC 100s, early 200s, whatever, and try to look on paper and find a card that is literally better than both of these. I dare someone to try to find some cards that have better early prelims than 299 and 300, especially 300, So, it's going to be pretty crazy. Again, thank you so much, Luis, for joining us, man. I always love doing these late night streams. It's part of our favorites. And guys, definitely keep a lookout. We're going to keep doing the MMAHolic gaming streams as well. That's when we play some multiplayer games like Call of Duty, Fortnite, Apex Legends, anything like that. And we chat it up, talking about some MMA while we play. So y'all just don't watch us on a screen talking the whole time. Y'all just get some entertainment. And even then, if y'all have the same game titles that we do, y'all might be able to join in with us and chop it up for a fight or two during one of our MMAHolic gaming streams. So again, thank y'all so much for joining us. And yeah, God bless y'all and good night. This is episode 13 of MMAHolics, and see us again for 14. And thank y'all so much. God bless.
Peace.